Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back doing a really unexpected book review. I have got to do the school run in like 20 minutes time, but I just finished my first ever Jane Fallon book and I wanted to sit down and share it with you and discuss my thoughts because it was so good. I read this in 4 sittings. I've been reading it in the evening. When did I start it? Today's Monday. I must have started it on Friday night. So I read it Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and then I just smashed through it for the past couple of hours. So this is my first ever Jane Fallon. Some girls on book club recommended Jane Fallon for a month. Loved this book so much. So I never heard of Jane Fallon. I've never seen her in charity shops or anything. I've never known about her. She is actually the girlfriend of Ricky Gervais. So there's a little fun fact for you. I loved this book, so I'll quickly read you the blurb. Keeping your friends close and your best friend even closer. Amy thought she knew everything there was to know about her best friend Melissa. Then again, Amy also thought she was on the verge of the wedding of her dreams to her long-distance fiancé. Until she pays a surprise trip home to London. Jack is out, but it's clear that another woman has been making herself at home in their flats. There's something about her stuff that feels oddly familiar, and then it hits Amy. The other woman is Melissa. Amy has lost her home, her fiancé and her best friend in one disastrous weekend, but instead of falling apart, she's determined to get her own back. Piecing her life back together won't be half as fun as dismantling theirs after all. So, non-spoiler section first. Like the blurb states, it's about Amy. We see her, or we start following her as she's coming home from New York. She's currently in New York filming. It's like the first series. I want to say she's in, I think it was 12 episodes. And she's like an actress. And it's her first big break. And she had to go over to New York to film. And then she's coming home as a surprise. She goes home to the flat and she notices that there are like women's things there, and she's like, what's going on? She goes to her best friend Mel's 40th birthday and something clicks, and she suddenly realises that Jack, her fiance, and her best friend Mel since they were 11, I think she said, ended up having an affair behind her back, and that is sort of how the story goes. It's really good, really good. I'd say I'd rate it probably a 4.5. On Goodreads, I'll probably give it a 4, but out of my scale, I'd give it a 4.5. I'd recommend reading Jane Fallon to anyone. Really easy to pick up, read a couple chapters and then put down in the evenings, which is what I was doing. But because I had a couple of hours spare today, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna read it because I loved it so much. I didn't see how it was gonna end, and it didn't end how I thought, and it didn't end how like a normal chick lit ends, which I think is why I liked it so much. When I read, well, when you/I read a lot of chick lit, a lot of the tropes are the same and you can sort of see the direction as to how the books are going to go. But in this one, I didn't see it at all. So I really liked it. It was all about friendship and Amy getting back on her 2 feet and trying to make it as an actress. And again, that's something that I liked. I don't think I've ever read anything about someone trying to be an actress and the struggle and the parts she auditions for, like Woman in Park or Woman in a Pub, or what was the other one, Woman Walking a Dog. It was really interesting to see like the whole casting and auditions and the whole process that she goes through. And then you've got the betrayal of the best friend, and then she finds out about it and she's like, you ruined my life, so I'm gonna ruin yours. It's just it's really clever. It's done really well, really tastefully, and I just really liked it. It's quite a big book. It's 440 pages, which is fairly big for a chick lit. Normally they're about 320 to 350, so it's a lot bigger. And one thing that I really liked is that the book goes to the end. Normally you get to like this many pages left, it's like, here's a sneak peek of my next book. It wasn't any of that. It was literally to the last page. There was no questions left unanswered. I just really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. So that's the end of my non-spoiler section. Leave now if you haven't read it. If you have, obviously continued watching and we can discuss in the comments. So, I can't believe how this ended. I really can't. First of all, let me say how funny I found this book. I found it so funny. I don't know whether it's just because of Jane Fallon obviously being with a comedian and things like that. I just found it really funny. There was a part when she said about how she looked like a pigeon or something. I just found it hilarious. There were loads of like funny moments where I was like chuckling to myself, and Neil was like, what are you laughing about? And I was like, my book, it's funny. And he's like, oh, you're so sad. I really liked the friendship that Amy had with Kat. I just thought it was a really nice friendship. Kat was that rock for Amy when she needed it, and was like, pick yourself up, dust yourself down, like, just get through this together. Kat was quite sort of, not standoffish, because she doesn't like emotion and stuff from Amy, and I'm quite like that. Like if Ellie went to go and hug me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm not that type of person. I'm not touchy-feely. And so I got the vibe of that from Kat. I love the relationship with Greg as well, which is Kat's husband. And I like how Amy was just like the third wheel, but it wasn't like she was a third wheel. And they just took her under their wings and made sure she was okay. I loved the whole part when they kept breaking into the flat and going on the laptop and finding like the tweets and what else was it, writing the Facebook statuses, and when they stole the cat and stole like all of her bedding and stuff. I found that really funny, and I was like, yes, like go get your cat back, like that cat belongs to you. Poor Oscar, I've got a bit of fluff here. Oscar being there without his mum, and then she went and rescued him. I really liked that. Bit of a build up to find out when Amy finds out about Jack and Mel, just because we know from the blurb that that is how it's going to go, so it's not a surprise. It's just a suspense of waiting to find out when it clicks and how it happens. But when it did, and her attitude towards it, I really liked it. I just grabbed the bull by the horns and was like, you know what, you've ruined my life, so I'm now going to go and get my revenge. I've never really read a book with revenge in before, and I thought that, I found it quite refreshing, to be honest. I thought it was really good. Sometimes chick lit can be a bit wishy-washy, and this wasn't this. This was quite punchy, and I liked it. I did struggle with it a little bit. I found it a little bit, I don't want to say dull, how it kept flitting backwards and forwards to how their relationship was as they were growing up. It obviously did a lot of like background growth to their characters, and it really showed how horrible Mel was throughout their childhood, but Amy just stuck with it because they were best friends. But Mel was just vicious, really nasty, and she definitely got what was coming to her. Amy, I think, throughout their childhood was a bit of a wet lettuce, and then this was just the last, what is this saying? I don't know, this was just the last thing that just pushed her over the edge to think, no, I'm not doing this. Obviously, sleeping with your fiance of 5 years is not okay. What else do I have to say? The whole Simon situ, that, sorry, I'm just checking on the time. Yeah, I'm fine. That didn't go how I thought it would. So when we met Simon, I thought it was really funny, and then she slept with him quite quickly, which I didn't really like. I wanted them to build their friendship and their relationship a little bit more. That happened, I want to say it was on the second date, which was quite quick, and for someone to go out of a 5-year engagement to then sleeping with this guy she doesn't really know, I thought it was a bit soon. I liked the playfulness that they had and the relationship that they built. I didn't really see it coming when Mel invited Simon to her house to obviously do the renovation and get some prices and stuff. Again, really snaky behaviour, after finding out that Amy was still in London. Sorry, there's a fly. When Simon said about Georgie, I thought that wasn't going to be his wife. I thought he was just lying about his wife, and she would have gone down there, realised it was his sister. That would have then got round back to Amy and Simon would have gotten on with their relationship. I didn't think that Georgie was actually his wife. So when that all came ahead, I don't know, I was just really shocked. I was really shocked to find out that he'd been cheating on his wife with Amy, and Amy had been that woman. Amy was, in a sense, not really Mel, but she was doing the dirty and she didn't even realise. So that really shocked me, and that was like really blunt and cut, and it was like, right, this, I liked the way she did it. She realised what had happened, spoke to Georgie and was like, that's done, and that was it. And that was really quick, and I didn't see it coming at all. But I'm happy that it did, because it shows that Amy didn't need a man to fall back on after what had happened with Jack and Mel, and she was independent enough to do it on her own. And I think that's a really good, like, not is it a moral of the story? I guess it is. Like, if people that are reading this are going through a really shit time or a breakup or whatever, I think it's something that people can take away, that you can do it on your own and you are stronger on your own. And there was a phrase in here that they kept saying which I really liked. You see throughout the story, whilst we go back in time, we find out about Mel and Amy's childhood. We see Amy go off and meet her own friendship group at university, and they eventually drift due to something that Mel sort of caused. And then at the, it's not a prologue. Is it a prologue? Epilogue? I don't know. It just says 3 months later. At that part, we find out that they all meet up together for the first time in Amy's flat, and I just thought it was a really nice full circle end. She's got Kat and Greg as her support system, like her 2 closest friends, or her closest friend and her husband. And then she's got all of her uni friends having a reunion after 20 years of being apart, and she has gradually rekindled her friendship-ish relationship with Tom. And it didn't end on like a really lovey-dovey note. It just ended on a really nice light note of friends being together and potential romance blossoming for her. She's in a good place. She's got her cat. She got casted in her dream role. Not dream role, but she got a really good job role for being a part of a series as one of like the secondary characters. And she's content. It was really well written. Found it funny. The chapters weren't too long either. That's one thing that I look for in books. This book had 60 chapters. I know this has been really wishy-washy, but I've literally just finished it, so I just wanted to word vomit all to you before I forget, because it's so easy for me to forget what I read because I just read so much. So I'm sorry if this was a bit waffly, but I just really liked it. I thought it was a really good book. The characters are a lot older than me. They were, I think, Amy was 39 and Simon was in his mid-40s, so the characters aren't, say, relatable to me, but I didn't struggle with that at all. Sometimes I find older characters harder to read, but I could have imagined this happening at the age of 27, 28, so that didn't put me off at all. I just can't get over how much of an arsehole Mel was. Like when she found out that Amy was back, and then she faked the whole casting and set her up for that thing, and oh, it was just awful. But yeah, I really liked this book. I highly recommend it. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any Jane Fallon. I'm going to recommend her to quite a lot of people if they ask me for a book recommendation, which is a question that I get all the time. Really easy to get into. I have actually gone on to Music Magpie and ordered all of the other ones. Music Magpie and World of Books is where I went. I'll leave them linked below. I don't do affiliate links, but I'll leave it linked below anyway for you. But I got this on World of Books for, it was £2.99 per book, and they had 3 for 2, so I got 3 books for like £5.30, I think. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good. So like I said, leave me a comment, let me know if you've read any of these before. If you all really enjoyed this book review, sorry it's been a bit random and wishy-washy, but that's my brain. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!